Welcome to the Rugby League Outsiders prediction video for the semi-finals of the 2025 Super League.
We're going to talk about the quarterfinals. Could they have been any more excited? And I just can't wait for these semi-finals, Craig. Two epic fixtures coming up this weekend. Before we get started onto this week's episode, just let you know that it's sponsored by Pavida Teamwear, which is available at yourclubstash.co.uk.
Pavida are a UK-based emerging teamwear company. They have a 2 to 4 week turnaround with bespoke designs, many of which are Polynesian. They provided these shirts, of which we absolutely love them. You can get a full store, everything from wooden spoons to your full kit and everything in between. So check them out if you're in the market for new club stash.
The link is in the description below. Check them out. It's yourclubstash.co.uk.
Yes, there are. And like you said, I want to say exactly the same as you. Really, really excited about this. Before we get into the games that are coming up, though, let's just do a little bit of a recap of the games that happened this weekend. Kicked off, obviously, Friday night. Leigh took on Wakey. Brilliant game. Obviously, the score finished up 26 points to 10 in Leigh's favour.
What were you thinking when this game started on Thursday night? I thought we were going to be for a real close game here. It was just, but Leigh just came out on another level. We know Leigh are capable of like really good performances, but they put in 80 minutes, didn't they? It was just flawless performance, I thought. Yeah,
it was a flawless performance. I mean, in fact, if you look at the stats, they beat Wakey in every stat during the game, including, meters made, tackles made, possession, kick meters, points, obviously, and then obviously the flip side is
sledging.
Oh yeah, there were a fair bit of sledging going on, weren't there? Yeah. But I love this game. I love this game because it made me reminisce of that first game of the season that we went to at the start of the year. It was Leigh versus Wakey.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
At the Leigh Sports Village, right? And Wakey came out on top.
Oh yes, Wakey did, didn't it? It was the week after Leigh went and beat Wakefield at Wakefield, didn't they? Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
So Leigh lost, and this almost like served to right the record. You know what I mean? In the game where it really, really counted. I just loved it. I loved what was going on the pitch. I loved every aspect of this game, and I was really excited. I was torn. I wanted Wakey to win. Everybody wanted Wakey to progress.
Careful what you say here, mate.
No, he did. But I also wanted Leigh to win, and I want Leigh to progress on to the finals. But sadly, one of the teams had to be out, and it was in the end Wakey that missed out.
Yeah, I suppose it was the two teams that like a lot of neutrals kind of rooting for at the minute, because they're not part of that big, call it big three, big four, especially teams that have won the Super League before. Leigh are just keep outperforming, don't they? Each year they get better and better. Wakefield have obviously just been promoted this year, had an absolute stormer of a season. So yeah, it was one of those games where you're kind of rooting for both teams. I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, and after our little period at the Dream Team as well, when we spoke to Adrian Lamb, it's same again, and you just get so invested. Once you spend a bit of time and you have a conversation with people, you get a little bit more invested in what they're doing. We spoke to Mike McMeekin at Wakey. We've spoke to Owen, the media guy at Wakey. Who else we spoke to?
Terry at Leigh as well.
Yeah, we spoke to Terry at Leigh. Derek Beaumont we spoke to Adrian Lamb as well. So we were just really heavily invested in both these teams, and it just didn't disappoint, did it? It was a great game.
No, it didn't disappoint, but it always felt like Leigh were going to win it, didn't they? They brought a level of intensity that I thought Wakefield struggled to handle that intensity. I think maybe if Wakefield had got on the score sheet first, we might have had a different type of game. Maybe they'd have dulled the crowd a little bit. And we talk about the atmosphere at the Leigh Sports Village. Every game they play at home, we mention it, and it's just ferocious, isn't it? And it was another one of those nights at the LSV where the crowd were just rocking. They were right behind Leigh, and it felt like Leigh were baying for blood, I thought.
Right, let's just go to the world of make-believe, Carl. If Wakey played at home and had Max Jowett fit, would there have been a different story?
It could have been. Yeah, it could have been. Because, like I say, Wakefield have been formidable at home, haven't they? And they've beaten Leigh at home this year. Who knows? Your hindsight, you just never know, do you? But what do you think the difference was between the two teams on the night?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it was intensity. And I'm not going to say that Leigh bullied them off the park, but they outplayed them in every aspect of the game. And don't get me wrong, like Wakey put up a really spirited fight, but I just think there was too intensive, they were too clinical in their in what they were doing, and I think they were marshalled incredibly well by Lamb. It's going to be really interesting, like the fallout of the incident. You know, we don't know a great deal about the incident with Mason Lino, but it looks like it's not going to play a part in the semis.
It's playing this week, isn't it, apparently?
Yeah, he's going to play this week against Wigan. But it's been referred to the compliance department in the RFL, probably going to sit on the 8th of October or thereabouts, or 6th of October, whenever it is.
Yeah.
And then he'll, so if they do progress to the final, then it's going to, that could be your best player is sat down potentially.
Yeah, and he is their best player, and he proved it again at the weekend. He also got voted the Writers Association Player of the Year, didn't he? Which was thoroughly deserved, I thought. I mean, he's had a brilliant season. Topped off by that 40-20 that he kicked during the game. Absolute cracker that was. Yeah, he had another great game. He marshalled them around. Both intensity in defence and attack. I thought he was great. I thought Leigh were great. I think they deserve to win.
Well, what about you, Carl? What would you say the difference was, or do you agree with?
No, I agree. I think it was. It's one of those things. Like you come out with such intensity from the start, the crowd gets behind you, and actually you don't think about how tired you are at that point. It's just you're just running on pure adrenaline out there, and Leigh did that. And like I say, they out enthused Wakefield in a lot of departments. Not that Wakefield weren't bad. They didn't play a poor game. But yeah, Leigh were just red hot that night, and I'll go as far as say it don't matter which team was playing against Leigh on that night. I think they'd come up with a win. I think they were really good.
Yeah, incredible game. What was your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. Moving on to the second game then, Carl, and obviously Leeds took on Saints at Headingley. It finished up 14 points to 16. Broke my heart. However, I love the idea that we have got a new, they're calling it the left to right try, aren't they?
Yeah.
A try that goes down in the chronicles of history in terms of like the Super League era.
Yeah, and that's got to be our Pavida Player of the Week this week, hasn't it? Let's get that on now.
Into the final 30 seconds. Stands already celebrating victory. But Saints still have the chance to come again. Down that left-hand side, Percival hurls it back towards the middle, and it's a penalty for St Helens. Penalty for Saints. Clock still running down.
Jared O'Connor ends up with the ball in his hand. The speculative offload is touched by Brodie Croft, and then Jared O'Connor is offside.
Well,
he had no choice.
Do they kick for goal here? Do they even think about kicking, but it's too far?
Well, if they'd have got that drop goal, Dave, that you dismissed, they wouldn't have had the option.
Well, the hooter sounds, but there's still a play to go. Still a play to go. Lomax sticks it out of play. So, a season of 27 rounds.
It's going high.
And here in the playoffs, and it comes down to this last play as to which team goes on from here. Saylor This now is Wellesby. Lomax is involved. Lomax out wide. Leeds desperate to put hands on bodies to stop things from happening. Whitley, Saylor. It's with Robertson. Cuts back on the inside. So many bodies ahead of him. Roberts for the outside. Ducks underneath tackles. Robertson plays it back. A flick back to the middle. Whitley now. Lomax. Oh, they're going to score. They're going to score. It's going to be a dive for the line for Shane Wright. Have you ever seen anything like that? That is utterly extraordinary.
Okay, so, we're going to look at this in two ways, Carl. First of all, you're going to look at it from the neutral. I'm going to look at it from the Leeds point of view. I've got to say that before that try, the match officials have now come out, or the head of the match officials has now come out and said that the try before this, the pivotal try that brought them within 2 points, should not have been allowed. So
I disagree.
We'll come on to that in a minute because we've got to lament.
We've got to unpick this try, haven't we? Which it's try of the season, yeah.
Oh,
100% try of the season.
Potentially try of the decade. You cannot deny that it's an incredible try. So, they played the last play penalty, right? Yeah. So they got a penalty there.
Hang on.
Forget it.
I want to ask you a question here.
Right.
When St Helens have got a penalty and the hoot has gone, are you nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like, if there's ever a time where St Helens can score, it's after the hooter, isn't it? I've seen them do it so many times.
Yeah, you've seen it done so many times, and at Headingley as well. You know what I mean? Like Saints haven't lost at Headingley, or haven't lost a playoff at Headingley for years, or whatever the stat is. Yeah, it's just
And it don't matter how poor Saints play in a game. Go on the 80th minute, and there's no other team I back more to score on the 80th minute than Saints. Yeah, so the side got the penalty, didn't they? Worked it to the left first of all. Nothing on really, was there?
No. Leeds were all over them. But fair to say, they're all, apart from actually locking down the ball, they were all over them in defence.
Yeah, worked it from left to right, and then it all changed when they put the ball in Harry Robertson's hands, I thought.
Unbelievable, that kid. Yeah. Like, he just refused to die. Like, I don't think we could underestimate the involvement he had in that try. Like, without him, that try would not have happened. The ball would have been killed, and they'd have gone no further.
But he's got everything, hasn't he? He's got the step. He steps around one or two players. He's got the speed, and he's also got the upper body strength. Like, he comes out of 3 or 4 tackles there where people are going high on him, and he just shrugs them off. He's got a good way of holding the ball out in one hand, which gives his plenty of body to fends off. Gets it out to Tristan Saylor, and that pass was something else.
Well, we'll talk about the pass in a minute, but just on Robertson, you've got to remember as well that this is after 80 minutes of intense playoff rugby as well. And he's still dancing around 5 or 6 plays. It looked fresh.
Yeah,
it looked fresh. And then, like you say, got the ball to Tristan Saylor, like incredible pass.
Hail Mary, that one.
I don't care what you say. I saw someone online saying, just give him the Man of Steel award now, just because of that. And I'm like, yeah, it is tremendous. It's one of those training passes where you just throw it in touch. You know what I mean? But he did it in the game in the highest stage, and it landed like inch perfect. Soon as you looked at it, it was like, oh my God, they've got 5 players lined out there.
Innit?
Yeah, it's happening. They've had the discipline to hold the positions, hold the line, Leeds scrambling all over the place, getting sucked into the ball.
Harry Newman didn't know what to do. He didn't know where to go. Left, right, stick, twist, block. Like it was just, it was done for it. As soon as I saw that overlap, Lomax was just smart. Actually, he just gave the ball straight away. No fancy dancing around, taking it to line. He was just like, we're on here.
We just saw the space.
Bosh.
Saw the space.
Put it out wide.
Yeah. Obviously,
incredible.
Try won the game 14 points to 16 in Saints' favour, and Paul Wellens went mental.
Yeah, as you would expect. If it had been the other way around, do you think we'd have seen Brad Arthur running on the field?
Or do
you think he might just smiled and nodded?
No, because it was. Well, no, because it's the build-up to this, isn't it? They've been trailing all game. They've been trailing all game. They got to the end. They got a penalty like that. Well, there's half a chance. You know what I mean? Then it's building up. Hang on a minute. This could. Robertson gets the ball. He's dancing all over the place. Tristan Saylor chucks out this mad, out the back door pass. And at this point, Paul Wellens is like, we're going to do it. He starts to believe. They score the try, and it just erupts. And like you said, when we just reviewed the try there, months and months of frustration, no doubt, just erupted out of him there.
Yeah, it wasn't 80 minutes of pressure for Paul Wellers. It's like a season's worth of pressure. And maybe people might let him off a little bit now, do you think? Or do you reckon still Saints fans are going to be baying for blood if they lose the next game?
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because, obviously now they go to Hull KR. But, Saints fans will be like, we expect to win, please. And I want to, book our place in the final. But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Despite the fact they're playing the most consistent team all year, So
we'll go on to that in a minute. So, yeah, Saints deserved winners then, Craig, yeah?
No, well, I mean, a little bit of controversy, isn't there? Because,
Not
like we
really.
said, there's this try that set up the 2-point ball game, like whether that should have happened or not. Now, I must admit, one angle, 100% looks like it's on the line. Second angle, you're like, hang on a minute, I'm not sure. Surely, in my eyes, that makes it inconclusive.
It can't be on the line on one angle and not on the line on the other angle.
No, it appears to be on the line in one angle.
It's definitely on the line.
How is it definitely on the line?
It's definitely on.
So how is it not definitely on the line on the other angle then?
I don't think they synced the cameras up right.
Oh, what?
I thought it were a try.
Why?
Because the ball's on the line. As soon as I saw it first time, I was like, yeah, it's on line, try.
From one angle. But then when you see the other angle, and don't forget, all season we've had these video referees going, I just need to look at another angle now. And you're like, why? All season they insisted on seeing every angle before they made a decision. For some reason, they didn't this time. He just went, right, okay. Yeah,
Do you know why that is? Because podcasters like me and you have been giving him stick all season, telling him to hurry up.
So it's my
let's
fault.
Come back and bite you on the arse.
So it's my fault that
Yeah.
try was... Anyway, so the head of the match officials now has come out and said it should have been a try.
Has he actually said that?
I don't know, but there's a couple of reports. That's
a-
good enough for me.
No. There's an article on a website.
Two articles.
Right.
Different websites.
Okay. I want to see the statement though from the match officials, because until I see that, I don't believe it.
Yeah, so how did you feel after this game?
Well, I was quite hungover actually, mate. Because I'd been out the night before. But yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? That's everything you want from Super League rugby. That's everything you want from the playoffs. I tell you, it made waves because I was watching the Matty Johns show over in the Aussie show, and even they showed it on their show because they were just like, we just can't believe what we watched.
Oh, bless them. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for me, obviously...
By the way, the NRL semi-final was epic. So it wasn't like we outdid them.
But I was disappointed for Leeds.
Yeah.
I really, they've had a great season, incredible season compared to last year. However, if we're going to get beat, then if it's got to be the best try potentially of the decade, then fair enough. That's the way to lose. And I wish them all the best in the next round. I won't be cheering them on, to be honest.
I know we've talked about the try and the bit of controversy, but apart from that, what did you actually think of the stand of the two teams? Because I thought defensively they were brilliant, but I thought attacking wise, both teams were a little bit average.
Yeah, well, you say that defensively they were brilliant. I think there were aspects of the defence that was good, but there was some sloppy tackling as well. Cooper Jenkins, couple of times, just kind of getting stuff wrong. Inches, literally inches, getting it wrong by inches, but alleviating pressure. Jake Connor went for a 40-20 straight out. Even the initial kick with Lockie Miller, went straight out. Like there's just some silly stuff whether it was playoff nerves,
Pressure.
The
Pressure does weird things.
Pressure, I don't know what it is because I think it was a little bit of light drizzle, wasn't it? It weren't horrendous weather conditions or anything like that. So yeah, it was a weird kind of game. Lots of pressure.
Do we know if Matty Lee's had a boy or a girl anyway?
We don't know. He went off half time, didn't he?
Yeah.
And toddled off. We saw him head off to join his wife, head off for labour. You can imagine that conversation before the game, can't you? Like, hang on a minute, it's the playoff, elimination playoff. We've had a shitty year. Like, what we're going to do, coach?
Yeah.
If my wife goes into labour, what are we doing? So it's a strong call, isn't it? What's your take on it? Were you there for your kids being born?
Oh, mate, you've opened a right can of worms there.
Have I?
So anyway, I'll tell you as well, right? We live near the hospital, as you well know. We live a mile away from the hospital, and I hadn't passed my driving test at the time. And when Kelly went into labour, I was there because we were at home when her waters broke. She drove herself to the hospital. And the conversation the day after was, by the way, you're fucking learning to drive. I'm never doing that again. So, yeah.
Well, for mine, right, so my eldest lad, my missus at the time then had preeclampsia, right? So it was quite serious.
Right.
But we didn't know this. We just knew she blew up like a freaking balloon, right? So she had a doctor's appointment. Went to the doctor's, and the doctor was like, I'm not telling you to rush, but don't mess around. And I'm not saying anything's wrong, but just take an overnight bag just in case. And we're like, yeah, no worries. Me, like, I was like, yeah, fine, okay. Should we just grab a bite to eat? Yeah, got a sandwich, you know what I mean? Potted around town, the shops a little bit. She's like waddling around and what have you. Anyway, he was like, right, okay, well, listen, we'll head off to the hospital then, and we'll go and see him. Walked in, and we're like that. Where the hell have you been? Get in there, gown straight on. They're like, you get washed. You know what I mean? So I was getting scrubbed up. I was like, what's going on? Straight into operating theatre. Whipped out my eldest lad, and I was like, the fuck happened there? You know, and apparently it was like they were on the verge of getting an ambulance, but because I was like, I'll drive her, you know, we're all set up, we're all good to go. They were just like, okay, right, fine.
Just walking around Meadowhall.
So that was that. Anyway, little sideline. So yeah, best of luck to Matty Lees and his wife. Hopefully all's good and well there. Right, shall we move on to this week's games then, Cal?
Yeah, some crackers coming up.
There is. So Battle of the Brick number 4, version 4 or whatever it is. I don't know how many times they've freaking played each other this year. Wigan currently 5 games from the last 6, including a win against Hull KR on the 15th of September. That may come into play later on if they progress from the semis. Leigh, 6 from 6. They have got the best winning ratio of all the 4 teams that are in the semis right now.
Yeah.
Kicks off at 8 o'clock. What we're saying?
I don't know what we're saying. Well, I was going to say Wigan are the red hot favourites. And then you just told me that Leigh are the hottest team in the last 6 games. So Wigan are 5 from 6. And I don't suppose that really matters, does it, at this point?
No, because you've got, on something like a big game like this, you've got to look back at perhaps the last 5 years, the last 6 years, maybe even the last 15 years in terms of like Wigan. Well, no, what is it, 30th round of Super League this year. So 30 years, like Wigan have got so much pedigree in these big games. That stands for much more. And I think Alex Walmsley said that there was 30 grand finals in the changing room for Saints.
Yeah.
And that played a massive part in, you know, holding the pressure and winning that game. I don't know how many grand finals are in that Wigan.
Well, there's a lot,
game.
mate, because they won everything last year and team hadn't changed that much. So you're pretty much sure that 1 to 18, there's going to be a hell of a lot of grand final winners in that team, if not all.
Yeah,
they didn't make many signings in off-season. Wigan did it anyway. Look, I've been saying to you all season, aren't I, that Wigan are just, when you get to playoff rugby, they're just a different team. They're a different animal, and it don't matter what sort of blips they have mid-season. When you get to playoffs, like nobody wants to play Wigan because the Wigan know how to win big games, and they seem to thrive on the big games. You get the best before, where some teams clam up a little bit, or they're a bit. You can spot nerves in them, can't you? Usually, when it comes to Wigan and the big games, it don't matter. It don't matter. We put Penrith in front of them, Leigh in front of them. They play the best rugby under the big pressure games, and I don't know what that is. It's just something in the culture at Wigan, isn't it?
Currently now, we know that Lachlan Lamb is going to be playing. I was a bit nervous that they'd be without their star player,
yes.
But we know he's going to be playing. He's going to feature at least this week. Wigan pretty much got a full complement. Luke Thompson's back now.
Okay.
Yeah, so, well, he was back. Can't remember what he did, but he was back for the game before, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago. So I think each team has pretty much got the full complement of players. They've certainly got enough strength to trouble each other. So it's really going to boil down to who prepares best now. Wigan have just obviously had a week off. That potentially is going to play a massive part. And both teams are going to be so hungry to get through this game.
Yeah, and the last one out, turn out the lights. Everybody in Wigan is going to be at the game, aren't they? Pretty much. It's going to be a sellout. Do you know what I think? The thing with Wigan is, I think they've got they've got more match winners, individual match winners on the team than I think Leigh have. As great as Leigh are, as great as they've been playing, I think there's more big game players on the Wigan side.
That said, is it cancelled out by the fact that Leigh love to be the underdogs?
Oh, yeah.
And also, Adrian knows that Wigan setup, doesn't he? You know what I mean? He knows every bit of that Wigan setup. And there's players at Leigh that were at Wigan as well.
And I think Leigh are comfortable beating Wigan these days as well, aren't they? You know, they beat them this season. And
well, it's close though, wasn't it? Very close. Especially at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Like 1 point in it. But
that was the first game. Didn't they beat them further on in the season?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, Leigh know how to win against Wigan, don't they? And like you said, I don't think it phases them anymore.
It's just that pressure of knowing that if they win, they're through to the grand final.
Who do you think more pressure is on, Leigh or Wigan?
It's an interesting...
I think there's actually more pressure on Wigan if you think about it. They've already let 2 trophies slide this season.
This is last chance saloon.
Last chance saloon for a minute, and I suppose this is the main one that they've had their eyes on all year. But yeah, they've had some moments of Wigan this year, and they've let some big games slide. So it's going to be a cracker. Side note: who's going to have the better fireworks? Leigh's last week or Wigan's this week?
I think Leigh's... I don't know. I've not really seen a great deal of the fireworks at Wigan recently.
They've got a bit of pyro
They
going
have the old
on.
pyro going, yeah. Yeah.
It's not leopard.
It's a great show at Wigan, though.
Yeah, it's a great show.
I mean, it's a great show at Leigh, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Who do you reckon is going to bring the most fireworks on the pitch, though?
Oh, testing you.
Well, it's either going to be testing you, Adrian Lamb. We've got to say, are going to be sensational.
Lachlan Lamb.
Sorry, fucking hell. Ipape.
Do you know if Adrian Lamb's playing this week?
Yeah. Well,
I'll give you a tenner.
J Field, Bevan French, you know what I mean? They need Harry Smith to just be Mr. Consistency metronome.
Out of all those plays that you've just mentioned, there's going to be a big moment from one of them, isn't there?
Oh.
Do you think we could see another like really low scoring game, or do you think it's going to be open, free flowing?
I think it's going to be...
They like scoring, these teams do.
Yeah,
but yet when they've played each other, we've had some really close games.
It's going to be a battle. I think if Leigh crack, then it could be relatively high scoring from Wigan because they'll just open up the floodgates. If they can hold their own and just, you know, it's going to be really close, potentially even golden point. Potentially.
Right.
That's my take on it. You?
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite free. I think there's tries in this game. Although they're both great defensive sides, I think where both sides are playing at the moment, there's a lot of points in both teams. So,
well, that's good. At least one of us is going to be right.
Yeah.
Right, we've got to call it then, Carl. Who are you going for?
I'm going for Wigan.
Oh yeah.
No, Leigh.
Why have you changed your mind?
I'm going Wigan, but I'd like Leigh to win. I'm going to put that on as a side note, just because I think it'd be great to have another side in the grand final.
Right, I'm going to go just to spice it up. I'm going Leigh.
All right, but you want Wigan to win?
No. I'm going Leigh. I'm going to put my...
Put your leopard print cardigan on.
Yeah, I'm going Leigh. Right, shall we move on to the next game then? By the way, that kicks off at 8 o'clock. Moving on to the next game then. Saturday night, Hull KR taking on Saints, kicking off at 17:30. Hull KR 4 from the last 6, Carl, which includes beating Saints on the 29th of August. And Saints 3 from the last 6. So by far the worst winning ratio of all the teams, despite that mega try against Leeds at the weekend.
Yeah, it almost feels like St Helens had no right to be in this semi-final.
That's not what you were saying bloody 10 minutes ago.
No, but I mean, what I'm talking about is this kind of if you look at the season that they've had this year, even Saints fans have been saying this year that you know, they're not good enough and all the rest of it, but they've found a way to get themselves there within 80 minutes of the grand final. And yeah, it's going to be interesting if, like you say, the old saying that keeps going around is never write off the Saints, and we're at that time of the year now, and they're 80 minutes from the grand final.
Well, I think in terms of players in, players out. So we know that Percival twinged his knee. Did you see that, by the way, when he buckled his knee?
Yes.
In the game? Yeah. So that was pretty horrific, but he just taped it up and cracked on and was still effective. So whether he's going to have any long-term issues from that, we don't know.
He'll play, won't he?
Yeah. Matty Leigh will obviously be expected to play a full game now that his wife's popped one out, and then Hull KR, I think there was without Joe Burgess, weren't they, and Mickey Mack. Now, what they're saying is Joe Burgess is expected to be fit enough to play. That's massive on the wing. Mickey Mack is touch and go at the minute. However, Willie Peters has said that if he is fit, he will start. And I think the aim is for Mickey Mack to, keep the
last 20 minutes of rugby.
No, it's going to be get the line speed going, dominate initially in defence and nullify, a big pack. And then for Jez Litton to come on and to take over from there. That said, he said he's confident that if Mickey Mack's not ready, then Jez Litton will do more than a great job.
He's kind of got it all right, Willie Peters here, hasn't he? Because he's got 2 top-class hookers now. I mean, I think Mickey Mack was probably always favourite to start this year for Hull KR, but then Jez Litton's had such a good season. It's if Mickey Mack's injured, it don't really matter because I've got Jez Litton now, who's arguably going to be the hooker for England. He's had such a great season. Personally, I'd just play Jez Litton. I don't think not sure I'd rotate the hookers. I'd say
I don't know. I mean, you need something to just quieten down Morgan Knowles, Matty Lees. Who else is in the
Wormsley?
You know what I mean? Someone just.
How big is he, by the way?
Yeah. You need someone to rattle them 3 and just get back in your box. You're in a game here. Mickey Mack can do that. I'm not saying Jez Litton doesn't hit hard and tackle well and all that kind of stuff, but there's a ferocity. All the players that played with Mickey Mack and some of the players that played against him will tell you there's a ferocity comes with him. So I think in this big game, it'd be great to have him for 20 minutes and then Jez Litton to come on and just dance around the players and snatch those opportunities.
Yeah. We can talk about both sides have got really great defences, haven't they, this year? But do you see the attacking threat from Saints that you see from Hull KR?
No.
No, I don't. I don't see where that comes from. And that's even in the Leeds quarterfinal from Saints, that as well as they played, I didn't see loads of attacking threat from them. Like I said, they made a lot of errors. I don't know if there's enough there to break Hull KR down.
Well, they had Lomax and Welsby in the halves, didn't they?
Yeah, and another combination.
Yeah, and Welsby's always going to do a job. Lomax has been quiet by his standards this year, And
he's been a great servant to Saints, but he's definitely coming to the end of his career. He's Johnny Lomax, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and then the other factor is Tristan Saylor. You've got to get him ball. He's got to
have the ball in his hands, hasn't he?
He's looked lightning all year, but he didn't look lightning against Leeds.
Well, he hasn't looked sort of lightning all year. He's been hot and cold all year, I would say. I remember at the start of the season, we were going, who is this guy they've signed? There's nothing from him. And then he was absolutely red hot in one of the games against Salford. It was like, it's absolute baller, this guy. And then he's been hot and cold all season. He went for a real spell where he was just absolute dynamite at playing at full back. And then they've moved him around a little bit again, haven't they? And I don't know. Saints don't know what the strongest side is, do they?
No, but so if we look at a couple of them players, then where would you prefer to see Welsby play? I did actually like him at loose forward, but anyway, my question is, where would you like to see him play?
For me, Tristan Saylor's been the best fullback this year for St Helens, and I'd put him at fullback.
Would you?
I'd put Saylor at fullback,
and then leave Welsby in the halves. Is that a yes or a...
It's a maybe. No, because I agree with you. I thought when he played at loose forward, I think he's decent at loose forward.
Yeah, but he don't beat Morgan Knowles, does he?
No. Yeah, it is a difficult one for Saints because they've got, like I say, Paul Wellens doesn't know what his best spine is, and we don't know. But I did see earlier on in the year, I thought Tristan Saylor had some great games at fullback.
Right, well, we've got to call it then, Carl. First of all, do you think it's going to be a high-scoring game, low-scoring game? What do you think?
I think Hull KR have got the arsenal to score. I mean, they've got some quality players. If Mikey Lewis keeps firing like we know he can do this year, I think there's tries going there.
Week off as well.
Yeah, week off. Well, we never know, do we, with a week off? Well, it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think there's too many tries in Hull KR for it to be a low-scoring game. And I think Hull KR will win this one. I'm quite confident that Hull KR will win this one.
Yeah, I think this is Hull KR's game to lose, if we're honest.
Yeah.
You know, you've only got to look at the win ratio for Saints and some of the, the performances against the big teams in the league this year. So, and this is one of those with the added pressure. I mean, I suppose that they're on borrowed time almost, because I don't think anyone really expected him to be here.
Well, nobody expected him to beat Leeds, really.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so it's like free hit. Let's just go for it.
Yeah, it's a free hit, isn't it? And maybe that'll play in their hands. We do know with Hull KR though, under some of the big pressure games, they do buckle a little bit.
Well, they seem to.
They weren't amazing against Warrington in the Challenge Cup final. They got the job done, but they weren't amazing.
They changed the way they went about it. They became a bit more conservative in a view to winning the game, and just think. And I'm not sure that's their best rugby.
No, their best rugby is a little bit more off the cuff. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit actually St Helens-esque. Is when they play their best rugby. Like to throw it around a little bit, give the outside backs a bit of freedom to work with. Yeah, that's when the Hull KR play the best rugby. I mean, even in the last game of the season, when they were going to lift the league leader shield, you could sense the nerves then. So that's the only thing. If St Helens really do relax and they just, like you say, take it as a free hit, they've got every chance of winning. But I think Hull KR will be too strong. Yeah,
I agree. I think it's going to be a Hull KR win. But we'll see. See what happens.
But never write off the Saints.
Exactly, you got it. Right, Carl, so moving on, what else is coming up this week?
I've got a Championship Grand Final preview, which I'm recording with Mark today. So the Championship is coming to its conclusion. York v Toulouse, been a great season. And there's loads riding on that game as well. There's obviously two teams that are vying for Super League status and another 0.25 IMG points up for grabs. So yeah, me and Mark are going to dive into the teams, review the semi-finals like we've done on this show,
and then also we've got a couple of from the outside income, including more or less access all areas at the grand final. Now we really want to know what you want to see in terms of like the back room, well not the back room, but like the goings on behind
the stuff you don't usually see. That's what I want to get stuck into. The stuff that you might not see on Sky Sports, you might not see on any other network. That's what we've got to get into Old Trafford and find those stories out.
Yep, so let us know if there's things you want to see. Let us know if you are going to the grand final, no matter which teams are there. And maybe we'll catch up for a pint. So until the next video, take care.